Oh god, this I haven't done this in so long. It feels so weird.
I've never done this, so
No pressure. Hey there, and welcome to Jack.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Keith.
So Keith, why don't you explain a little bit about what we're doing here?
So this will hopefully be the first of many episodes where we take a look at game mechanics that impress us and talk about how we think they would have designed the mechanic and the approach that we would take to recreate it.
Yeah, so one of us are going to try and attempt to recreate that mechanic in Unity and then show it off to the other while talking about how we went about recreating it.
So Jay chose the first mechanic that we'll be talking about.
So the mechanic that I chose to recreate is the Pogo Panic game from Crash Bash.
Oh, yes. What a game.
I know. So growing up, obviously, everybody, everyone was playing Mario Party, but we were very much a Crash Bash.
Oh, yes,
household.
PlayStation all the way.
Yeah, so the Pogo Panic game was definitely one of my favorites in it, and it was a bit of a toss-up. It was between this one and it's one of the other ones where you're trying to knock the mechanic or the metal balls into the goals. Yeah,
yeah. You see, that's because you were actually good at that one. I was no good at
that. I was good at them all. Now,
yeah. Okay. Let's take it easy there. My favorite mechanic from Crash Bash, or my favorite game, would have been the one where you pick boxes up and throw them at each other.
Yeah, I do like that, but I felt ultimately, we're trying to get these done in about a week or two. I probably would have needed about 6 months to try and implement those throwing mechanics.
At the rate that we make games, at least.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So, it was a tough choice, but ultimately I settled on the Pogo game. It was very last minute, though. I was 99% sure I was going to do the other one, but then at the last minute I said, you know what? No, I'll try the Pogo Panic. It's the one I like the most. It's probably a bit harder, but I'll see how we get on with it. So
yeah, to be fair,
I was happy enough with how it turned out.
Oh, it's a staple of the game anyway. So how much of it did you recreate before I opened this?
Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It's pretty much the entire thing.
The entire thing.
Yeah, the entire game. Not the entire game. Yeah.
All Crash Bash, like, yeah. Perfect. Can't wait to get sued.
There's a few things, there's no I think in Crash Bash in the Pogo game there was the rocket. You could pick up a rocket and fire it at other players. I ran out of time now because I kind of left the power ups until the end, so I ran out of time and I didn't really have time to implement that one. So I'm pretty sure that's the only thing I'm missing. And there was a few different variations of the Pogo game as well. Some of them had, there was just a few different things. You could jump on the arrows that would shoot the colors in all directions.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I chose to just do a one direction. So there was a few things I made a couple of changes on that I thought maybe.
I forgot you're a massive One Direction fan, so yeah, that
adds up, yeah. I know, worst day ever when they split up.
Okay, so that's cool. The Pogo, that's a very interesting kind of a game mechanic because obviously it is a little bit different. It's not linear, kind of like the rest of them. You kind of don't have control, and you're kind of locked to a grid, like so.
Exactly.
I'd say your first kind of challenge was figuring out that kind of grid movement style, was it?
Yeah, so I didn't really know which way to start with this. I was looking around for a little while, and it's not a true grid. So I have a grid-like set. So you'll see it's like an 8x8 grid, but they don't actually move on a grid. It's like they move in units. The characters move in units. So it's like an empty game object, which is like basically their move position. And I haven't, I'd say, hard-coded nearly just to move, one unit in that direction, and then they will jump to that location. So it's not a true grid system where you go from piece to piece to piece. It's more like you're moving along that axis in the units that I've specified. So I tried that out right at the beginning, and it just worked so well. I didn't think I was going to stick with that for the rest of the development, but it was just working quite well.
Okay, so why fix if it's broken? I mean, these are tiny little mechanics, or
exactly.
like almost like Mario Party style kind of games where they only last like 5 minutes. So, why bother changing it? That's about right. I guess I would have probably tackled it the same way. I would have put I know I haven't opened the project yet, but I'd have put obviously a flair on it, given that I'm the 3D artist, and then my mechanics would have suffered. But I'm assuming
my mechanics still suffered. Don't worry.
So I'm assuming you, programmed in the bouncing then, did you, or?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm assuming you, programmed in the bouncing then, did you, or?
Yeah, exactly. So my mechanics still suffered. Don't worry.
So I'm assuming you, programmed in the bouncing then, did you, or?
Yeah, so again, the problem with not having the grid system then was it did bring up some limitations, as in, so when I was testing it out before the bouncing was happening, it looked great. The problem was then I decided early on that I was going to just make a bounce animation, a very
Of
simple
course.
bounce animation, and I thought, it'd be easy to line the jumps up with the grid movement,
Oh,
but
trust me,
I
I'm
ran
working on
into
something now and realized just how annoyingly difficult that is.
Yeah, yeah. I ran into that very late on in development. It was kind of one of the last things in a game where you're jumping around a pogo stick, why not do that early on? Just leave that to the very last piece. Um,
Of course.
but I ran into those problems right at the end, and I just couldn't get it to sync up properly. Whereas if I had to use probably, an actual grid system or a grid moving system, I could have timed those jumps so that they were exactly, the way I wanted
Yeah,
them to be.
yeah,
So it was a one to one like it is in the game. So at the moment, all he's doing is he's just moving along the axis, and the animation is playing. So you'll see when you open the project, it's not like it is in Crash Bash. It's more just you'll see him bouncing up and down, but he
yeah.
doesn't exactly jump on the tiles.
I get you. I get you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we might as well throw this on then, and I'll see what you've come up with.
Save your laughing for the end, please.
Oh, okay. It's music as well. I hope this isn't copyrighted music. Okay. Maybe a two. That should be fine. I love the UI. You've definitely gone.
I had a lot. I didn't think I was going to put so much time into the UI, but it ended up being
This
the
is.
most. After the
Oh my
frustrations of trying to get all
god.
the mechanics working, it
This
was
is far
a
more than
breath
I
of
was
fresh air.
expecting. I genuinely was expecting cylinders just bouncing in place.
Oh, I spent so long, making those assets. Yeah, no,
That is
all from
fucking
I just
brilliant.
downloaded from the model resource. Yeah, very
Of
very
course,
quick
model
touch-ups.
resource, the best thing out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
god, this is fantastic. I love this. Oh, that fan drawn little crush in the top right corner.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what? I'm so ecstatic with how happy you are right now that I feel like you shouldn't play it. Let's just call it there.
Okay, okay. Look, let's give this a bash anyway, and
Oh,
see,
I like what you did there.
see how she goes. Oh, look, you know this. Okay, okay. Oh, that's right. You move directionally in that, don't you? Look, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
this is, this is pogo go go. This
yeah.
is. And look, your arrows do work as well. This is
Oh, they were
fantastic.
quite challenging to implement,
Now,
actually.
not to be that guy, but like you don't crash into the other players. What's that about? Like,
I know. I really wanted to implement, and you know what? It
what the
is
fuck?
in there. Early on, I had it working, but then something I did along the way
Oh,
stopped it from working. So you'll notice that sometimes it does work and
yeah.
sometimes it doesn't.
This is fantastic. I love the music and the UI and everything, but you didn't add any bounce sound effect.
No, no, I didn't. I had to just leave that one out.
Oh fuck! So tell me, how did you program the AI?
So yeah, the AI, it was actually not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. So as I was saying earlier, I have the main character moves in like in a unit. As you see there, he's just moving like 1 unit per second or whatever it is. So all I really had to do was to apply that logic to the AI. So it chooses while there's no purple crates on the screen,
Yeah,
it chooses a random position. That's why sometimes you'll see
is
they'll
that
just
meant to
go up
happen?
and down. It makes no sense. Yeah. But when the purple crate lands, I wanted them to be a bit like smarter, make it a bit more challenging. You can press R to restart if you
Yeah,
want
you
to. I
can.
didn't
I don't
implement
even want
anything.
it. I mean, that's it. I mean,
Yeah, please, yeah, this is ended there.
it's all
But
downhill for
when
you.
the purple crates, there's like a percentage chance that they'll find
Oh
that
my
that
god! You
the
know
AI
what?
will find it.
I completely.
Oh,
I thought those purple crates were erasing my scores.
yeah, yeah, they add to the
Yeah, it's
score.
been a long
Do you know
time.
what? When I first implemented this, there's one game where you have to make the circle with the pogos, and
Yeah.
that will and I tried to do that for like a day, and I was getting nowhere. And I was like, "Isn't there one where you collect crates?" And I just decided to implement that one instead because I figured it would be much easier to
Yeah,
do
no,
in a
makes
week.
sense. 100%.
Uh, So yeah, when the crates land, the AI will there's a percentage chance, like 30 to 50% or something like that, that they'll find it, because I wanted it to be a little bit challenging
Yeah.
when some of the crates land. I'm pretty happy with kind of how it turned out there. I don't think I programmed anything for them to go and actually collect any power-ups. So if you see
Oh,
them
okay, okay.
collecting power-ups,
It's
it's
all by
probably
chance.
just coincidence. Yeah.
That's it. That's what you want, you know. A little bit of random.
Yeah, yeah,
Look
that's
at this.
it.
These guys are so bad.
I know they're really bad. And you know what? The more I played it, the more I wanted to do. I honestly, I could have spent a month, trying to fix this.
Oh yeah,
But
no, sure. I was the same with the Simpsons game. You get so obsessed with these little projects. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
how long do you think you actually spent working on it?
Okay, so the whole thing done, it took 7 days, but I'd say within that time, I probably worked on it 2 or 3 hours a night, something like that.
Okay.
And then I think there was one Sunday I spent to go maybe 6 hours working on it. So, I mean, you're talking anywhere between 15 to 20 hours, I'd say.
Okay, so a fair bit of time at least on it, yeah. And how much of that was
Yeah.
on the 3D characters?
Oh, believe as you know, I'm not a 3D modeler, and when I ripped these characters, they obviously weren't in pogo stance, and even doing that, it took me so long to try and rig them and put them in that stance. It was
Oh
it was far
shit.
more than I cared to admit.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Like, so, if you had more time then to work on it, what else would you like to implement just to make it feel kind of more like the game?
Yeah. So the biggest thing that bugs me is the fact that they don't jump one to, or that the animations don't line up with the
Yeah,
jumps to the tiles. I definitely implement that so that I could just so it has that feel,
yeah.
because at the
A bit of
moment it's
weight
all
to it,
it
kind of
just
thing. Like,
yeah, exactly. It just feels like they're gliding at the moment. So I'd love to implement that one-to-one jump and animation. The next thing I do is I'd make the AI a bit smarter. It was very quick AI that I cobbled together. Like as I said, they don't go for any of the power-ups. They have a percentage chance to go for the crates. So I'd love to, implement maybe even a difficulty system, like just very simple, easy, medium, hard, so that the harder the difficulty, the more of a chance they have to go for the crates.
yeah,
So it feels like it gets more
yeah.
challenging.
It feels kind of progressively difficult.
Exactly, yeah. The last thing then is, I mean, look, you're looking at those animations. I'd love to just clean it all up,
Look, that's just
but
some
like I said,
squash and stretch. That's animation
yeah,
101 then.
exactly. Animation 101. That's where everybody starts, right?
Everyone starts on a Crash Bash Pogo and Go-Go remake.
Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna have to
so
title
I
this
yeah,
Crash Bash Remaster with a question mark.
yeah, and that's being kind.
Yeah, no, I think it
Oh,
turned out.
as
I
you,
think it turned out well. Um, yeah, I guess
you know what,
if
I am happy with it.
if I were to do this, I'd probably tackle it the same kind of way. Like I said, I'm kind of working on something with kind of grid movement in it as well, and it is a bloody nightmare. Like, but
Yeah,
obviously because I work more so on the graphic side of things, I've kind of nailed down that kind of grid style kind of movement. Not to
yeah,
brag.
yeah.
Um,
No, that's yeah. Your project's next, so I guess
yeah, no pressure, no
bring it
pressure.
to the
I mean, to
table.
be fair, this is a lot more than I was expecting. Now I actually have to put some work in,
Pressure's on.
and I have to actually think of something as well. So, how do you
Yeah.
think then? Obviously, I know PS1 was a bit of a beast then to make games on. How do you think the developers would have originally tackled this?
Yeah, I was trying to think of this as I was working on it, because I think a lot of the core mechanics of game development have largely remained the same,
Yeah,
like all that I put into this, it's just basic movement. Now I'm not sure they probably used an actual grid system to have their characters line up with the tiles, but I mean outside of that. They just use the collision system, I'd say, for those interactions when the players meet.
mm,
I mean, and as I said, like I implemented that and it worked well with mine, because the way it works is there's a saying a game object that's childed to the character, and it's always one step ahead of the character, so
yeah,
it will do that collision check to see if anybody's there. So I mean, I'd assume it'd have to be something like that. The back then when they were creating it, maybe they have to check what the next step is going to be to make sure, because they need to color the tile or check if it's a power up or see if there's anything there on the tile, you know, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
of
can
course.
enable the collisions. So, I mean, listen, if I was to guess, I'd say that they probably did something like that as well, where they were constantly checking ahead of the character to see what was there.
Yeah, and
And
would that
then,
be in a kind of, do you reckon, in kind of like raycast style or an actual physical invisible object?
I would say probably. I mean, raycasts are. It depends on how many they were sending out because if they were checking all directions, you know, it could be quite expensive. Whereas, you know, if they were actually doing a physical collision object, I would. Well, I'd say, you know, it's they just need to do it if there's a collision, you know. Whereas
Yeah,
if they're firing raycasts out all the time,
yeah, that makes sense.
that's a constant thing, you know.
Yeah, so it's not very practical kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
say as a
so
professional game developer, by
oh,
the
of
way.
course,
So
yeah, I with like tenure, kind of, loads of games under your belt,
yeah, loads of empty projects, maybe, or unfinished projects.
Yeah, I guess the way like that, if I were to tackle this and if I were to think about how they kind of would have done it back then, is all you'd have on the screen is statically, almost statically moving objects. You know, like your character, like you said, glides along, but I feel like that's how the character would have moved. On like their PS1 development
Yeah,
kit.
yeah,
And like that, then the 3D artists would come in and they just time everything themselves. So you'd have like basically your sphere object and he moves like from square to square to square, and
yeah,
then the animator will come in, and then obviously he'll have your kind of your limits there that you have to, your parameters that you have to get this animation within, and then you at the start your start animation and your end animation for the pogo jump would be actually different animations then. So your jump animation would stop at like the tip of the jump, and then
yeah,
you are checking basically like that, like using your check marks as well to find out where he's going to land and play the reverse of that. Like so he's then like the pogo's going forward then, so he's going into land, that kind of way.
yeah. I get you. Yeah,
So instead of putting it all in one like up down animation, you're not relying on that hitting the mark every time. So if you were to jump up, he freezes, and jump down, he freezes on that spot kind of thing, but it's just happening all the time, so you don't see it that kind of way,
you don't see that happen. Yeah, yeah.
So
And funnily, I tried to actually implement something like that. Now, very basic, nothing like that's probably how they did it. But when I had it implemented first, I was like, surely I can time the animation so that when he starts, he's on one tile, and when he's finished, he's on the other, and he'll be in a certain pose. And I played around with that for a little bit in Unity, and working with just the animation controller to try and get the states
yeah, yeah.
working like that. But I couldn't get the desired result, and in the end, I think I was spending too much time on that. So I ended up, I was like, look, this is for now. I have a kind of a makeshift solution which will do, and if I have time at the end, that's how I'll go back to this. But I just ran out of time in the end. But it's just funny to hear you say that, because it is something I did try.
So it is an avenue that you actually talk like. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
pretty cool
yeah,
when you see a kind of multiple kind of people like think of the same development process, in that kind of way.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's what's mad to think is that they probably went through the same thing when making even just small mini games like this back for Crash Bash, like because it had to feel a certain way, because Crash was obviously competing with Mario at the time, and
yeah.
in order for that to be successful, then they would have had to basically build a game that was like Mario Party in a way, but didn't feel rushed as well in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. But no, Crash Bash is still one of my all-time favorite games. Even now, I'm still just holding out for that remaster. Who knows?
I tell you,
this
the
could be
whole
us.
time the whole time I was making this, all I could think was, I really wish they would remaster Crash Bash. I love this game.
Not asking for much here, like just a remaster of Crash Bash, like that's it.
Make
Yeah,
it happen, so
well, fucking, I think you nailed it. I think it looks great, for something that was made in essentially 2 days, and you're obviously primarily a programmer kind of thing, so the fact that you gave it a visual element as well is pretty awesome, like, considering I was expecting a couple of spheres and cylinders.
Well, listen, this is only the first one. It could still happen.
Oh, that's it.
depending on whatever I choose
fucking
next.
episode 3, you'll be like, no, I'm done with this. We have to get
Cancel
these
the
things
whole
out.
video series.
Yeah, that's it. I'll just delete this one as well. No good. Look at that. I mean, look, it's too easy to win, man. You have to work on that.
Oh, actually, that's another thing.
Coco didn't even try.
It is too easy to win. But even if the AI did win, it would still show Crash, because I just hard coded it. Because I was like, the AI is not smart enough to win.
Oh, that's
So I'll just hard code Crash to win.
fantastic. That is brilliant. Right, so I think I couldn't think that's a good jumping off point. I think you did a very good job. It's definitely a lot more to live up than I was expecting because, yeah, I thought I'd
Just like
just
to
jump
set
in
the
and do something
bar,
nice and easy.
Well, I don't know. I genuinely, I didn't think it was gonna. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I didn't think it was gonna, turn out the way it did. Now saying that, I could have got very lucky. As I said, I got very early on. I had the I grid in quotations nailed down, and I pretty much thought that's the bulk of what's going to take up the time here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think that I did get very lucky now early on. So yeah, well, you never know. Lightning never strikes twice, so not in the same place anyway.
That is what they say. Right, yeah. So you've given me basically a run for my money now because I was just going to hop in and do something simple and that'd be that. But then where's the entertainment in that? Now I need to make
So
something like the Mr. Bean game that is just weird and.
and you can't make another Crash Bash mini game.
Well, okay, I see how it is. So now we have rules all of a sudden. I mean,
Oh, no,
I'm really
you
into
don't, I
that.
do.
I'm really into that balloon game that you get when you get to like level 5 or whatever. The
I
one
don't
nobody
even remember
remembers.
that.
Yeah, nobody
That's showing
remembers
my
it.
age.
No, nobody remembers it because nobody got there in Crash Bash. All they had was the pogo game, the metal ball game, and the knock each other off the ice game. And you played them for about 5 stages until you got the balloon game. That was it.
Wait, there was more than that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh,
So did this? Had you any ideas kind of before this, or has this changed
yeah, this has kind of changed it,
thinking a
all
bit?
right. Definitely changed it a bit. I mean, I like the way that you went. You went for almost a gameplay element mechanic, I think, as opposed to a simplistic,
Like a
like
mechanic
character,
or-
yeah, mechanic, yeah, in that kind of way. You've actually kind of went a step up. So let's hope my programming skills, still hold true, or the lack
Well,
thereof.
if you saw
Oh wait,
like
I'm the
code
3D
that
artist.
you saw the code that I used to put this together, you probably wouldn't be as worried. So
Well, I'm excited now to try the next one. But I think we'll just call this one here anyway. So this has been then the first episode of whatever the hell we're going to call this. Jack, take a
we're
look at mechanics.
Still
and shit
very
like that.
early. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely have to be
So,
more refined and clean next time.
Well,
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
speak
wait,
so
that,
soon.
that doesn't sound like us at all.
No.
Well, you're not from North Kiltown at all.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll have a think about what I'm going to do then, and hopefully in the next couple of days I'll have something put together that trumps your backyard little brand Crash Bash.
Well, hopefully, I mean, the hope is that we're just going to get better as these go along ourselves. So,
Hey, look,
welcome it.
it's been like 11 years and we're still about as subpar as we were to begin with. So
Oh yes, probably worse.
oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, no, actually,
Now
we're not
full-time
quite
jobs
practicing
and
anymore.
lives to live.
Oh yeah, my favorite part: full-time jobs. Right.
But yeah, sure. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Is it any good? I don't
Is
know.
this
Let me know
something
if
you'd
it's
play?
bad. I want to hear that too.
Oh yeah, 100%. I just roasted, like absolutely roasted.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
oh,
I
you-
don't want to hear it. Keith probably does.
I'll sift through all the comments and appreciate every single roast. Oh, you didn't even animate the trophies. Like, oh, what
I
is
know.
this?
I know. I'm so amateur. I
Well,
know.
it's so amateur. I mean, like, to be fair, I mean, I don't know where you got this font for, the numbers and shit, and then the little gradient going through, but that's all on point.
Oh, but you should see the moment I figured out how to do gradient color font, it was a revelation. I genuinely sat back in my chair with the biggest grin on my face. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever done.
That is fantastic. All right. Well, hopefully it won't be too long before we get the next one up. A week, maybe 2 tops. And yeah, we'll discover what I have decided to put together, and hopefully it's, in any way comparable.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to it. So
Yeah. Oh, you
yeah.
better be. You better be. Mine's going to be so good that your next one better be even better.
What, are you threatening me now?
Suddenly, yes. If you didn't
What-
live
what
so
I
far away. All right. So we'll
Okay,
call it
well,
there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's perfect.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I might have a download link in the description if, we have the balls not to get sued.
Yeah. We might have to scrub out a few things, or I don't
no,
really know what way this works.
no. It goes up as is. It goes up as is.
We're all in. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So play the game, let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm just going to end it on that.